Hey everybody, it's Cynthia Porter. Emily Skills is running the camera, and we are Facebook Live from Island City Brewing Company. Thank you. You sent us to a place with beer. Oh my gosh. So we're gonna go inside. We are going to sample a quick little flight of beer. I mean, for our jobs, because we're dedicated, and then we're gonna get a super little short mini tour. Oh, people are coming in and out. Hang on. Oh, this way. We're gonna get a little mini tour in the back, and one of the things that I'll tell you right now is that we know that there's a surprise coming for us, and we won't get it until we're in the tour in the back. It's something special that they're going to do just for us. I don't know what. Also, they're going to start doing these kind of backstage tours in January on Fridays. They gave me a little flyer. I just read through it a little bit. It's $20 only on Fridays. They're small groups, like 10 people. You get a small flight of beer and a pint glass and a pint of beer of your favorite to carry with you on the tour. It seems like it's really cool. It's going to be a much longer tour than what we're doing tonight, because they said that it takes about probably closer to an hour, and we told them we have like 15 minutes. So we're going to be on hyper speed going through this, but it's going to be fun. And also tonight is trivia night at Island City. I happened to be here one night by accident when it was a different trivia night, and the place just goes bonkers, by maybe 7:30 or in maybe a half an hour or 20 minutes or something like that. So we'll see if that's kind of starting to bubble up as we're finishing this up. I don't know. Let's go have some fun. We're going to go inside. It's going to be really noisy. If you can't hear us, you got to just say in the comments, and then Emily will like put the camera right in our faces so you can hear us. So Island City has only been open for a couple of years. It opened on St. Patrick's Day. It has become quickly kind of iconic. People are religiously coming in here for their beer. I have a friend who comes in for the Vanilla Dunkel, which is apparently very, very famous for them right now. They change out their beers all the time. There's, I think that there's 11 beers up there right now, but they started with just 4 beers and can have as many as 12. So every kind of taste is met with their beer list. This is Doug. So this is Doug. Doug is the CEO of Island City, and he's going to introduce us to these flights of beer.
That's right. So I put together a couple flights for you guys. We go from basically our lightest beer through to one of our heavier beers. So here we go. The first one you guys will have is our Pilsner. This is a Pilsner that is roughly based on a recipe from Boob's Brewing Company. So it's obviously a lighter beer. You can see through this one. It has a light taste to it. So we start out a lot of, I would say, light beer drinkers who are new to craft will drink this beer when they come in.
That's good. I like it. Do we have to drink all these?
I start chugging. The next one is our Radler. So in this beer we use our Moonlight White, which is a sour beer.
Oh, that's good.
And we mix it with our grapefruit soda, which we also make in-house here. So it makes a very good summer drink.
Yeah, it's like a shandy a little bit.
Correct, yeah. Radler and shandy are kind of the same thing, depending on where you're from.
I'm not that cool.
So I like that the sour is kind of that tartness, and that grapefruit soda brings the sweet. So it's a very nice mixture.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Ready for the next one?
Okay, wait,
You're like ready to go. She's enjoying.
Okay.
Next we got a pretty new one. This is a cream stout or a milk stout. It's called our Devil's Cave.
It smells like coffee.
Right, so we use a lot of dark malts that are just roasted longer to give that coffee taste. There's no coffee or no chocolate in this beer. And then to make it a cream stout, we actually add lactose to it. And lactose doesn't get fermented like the rest of the sugars in the beer, so there's some residual sweetness left in that beer. That's why it's so sweet.
That's good.
Yeah. Our last one is our flagship double IPA, so that's our Docksider double IPA. So that one is generally around 8 or 9%. It's got a very hefty malt bill, along with a very strong hop bill as well. So that helps to balance it out.
That is a really full body IPA.
It is. So
got a lot of
being 8 or 9%
personality.
beer, it doesn't really taste like it has that much alcohol in it because of how much flavor those malts bring.
That one's
And
good.
so, can you tell us while we're just sipping a
Yeah,
little
yeah.
bit more? Tell us how is your beer recipe created, and how long has this brewery been doing this? And just a little bit about the beer tour, just a couple minutes, just while I drink.
Sure. So the brewery's been open since 2017 on St. Patrick's Day. So every St. Patrick's Day we have another reason to drink, a birthday party.
We already had a reason.
Yeah, all right. And then the way that we kind of come up with beers is a couple different ways. We might kind of see a gap in our selection, so we like to offer, just even from this selection, we like to offer something for everybody.
Yeah.
Someone comes in and says, hey, I really like IPAs, we need to have those. Hey, I don't really drink craft beer, what do you guys have? We like to have those options. So what we have coming up, and what you guys will get to sneak peek here a little bit later, is one that we thought we were missing. It's kind of a fruitier light beer. So we just kind of saw a gap. I gave it up to my head brewer, said, hey man, what can you do in this range? And he comes up with a recipe. So that's kind of how it works here. Pretty simple. I mean, simple for me. I ask for a beer and I get a beer.
It's kind of like freestyle, really.
Right. Now he knows a lot. He knows a lot more than I do. So he figures out the science. He figures out, what the balance of the beer. Tried to keep it true to style, so that we can, when we say that we have a double IPA, it is actually thought about as a double IPA in the world of craft beer.
I'm thinking about it that way.
Perfect. And then as far as the tours go, we'll basically start out the way that you guys are starting. And we'll sample the beers for the customers. We'll talk about each of the beers, why they're here, what they taste like, how they get their flavors. We'll let the customers pick out their favorite beer. We'll give them a pint of that, and then we'll start on our tour.
Okay, should we do the tour?
Might as well.
Yeah. So, can I have a pint of this?
Yeah. A pint of that? You gotta finish that one.
No, I can't. Or I'll just take it.
There you go.
I'll just carry this and I'll carry hers. Just kidding. I'm gonna take this first one. Okay.
Double fisting over here.
So we are going back. This tour starts back in the grain room, I'm told. If I fall down, I hope I can save the beer, right?
At least it'll be on camera.
So listen, we love it when you guys give us shout outs and tell us where you're watching from. If you're watching right now, give us a shout and tell us where you're watching this from, because it's so fun for us. We are going to just basically let Doug give us a really, really tight little short mini tour while I drink beer. It's amazing, right? I mean, this is my life. What? Okay, so here we go, into the grain room. All right.
So I like to bring people in here first. This is where it kind of starts. We start with big bags of grain, and what we need to do is crush those grains up to just kind of powderize it and make everything readily available for the liquid. We'll come in here, give you a sneak peek. This is what the grain looks like when we start. So like I said, it's just kind of seeds, and we pulverize them and shoot them up into the mash tun.
Should I taste
If you
it?
taste this, it's kind of like a cereal is what I like to tell you. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Make sure I know what it's in. Oh yeah. That's what a horse feels like.
I always wondered what a horse felt like. Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
So the next thing that I like to talk about is our water system. So we actually have a reverse osmosis water system here. We bring in Winona City water, we put it through that system so that it's super pure. And then from there we kind of play with the water profile based on the type of beer that we want to make. So some beers will take a different water profile than others, and we want to just make sure that we are choosing the best water profile for that beer to make the flavors really stand out.
Water profile is a term I've never heard.
No?
No, water profile.
It's like a social media profile for water.
Do you have emojis to water profile?
Probably do, like really hard waters, really mad.
What's this?
All right, so this here is our 4-vessel brew house. So those grains I showed you will get shot up into the mash tun.
Again, those grains that are stuck in my teeth right now, I don't recommend eating the grains. I'm just saying that it was interesting, but
It gets made into beer. It's pretty cool.
Right.
So the process is very loosely that we'll send those grains up into the mash tun. We let them sit there for, I believe, roughly an hour to kind of let the enzymes start to do their thing. We'll transfer it over into what's called the lauter tun. And I forget how long it sits there.
It's okay.
Not my job. But then from there, we start to extract those sugars. So we're basically trying to get all the sugars out of those malts that you just ate. And we'll send them into this boil kettle. And what we do here is we boil the beer for about an hour. And when we do that is when we're adding our hops. So our hops get added in during that process. And talking about IPAs, talking about some of these other beers, when you add the hops earlier on, you start to get more of that bitterness flavor. When you add the hops later into the boil kettle, you get more of that floral aroma and the smells from the beers. So something like our dock cider that we have, we add a lot of the hops late and a lot of the hops even in the fermenter, and that's why it smells so fruity. If we add the hops earlier, that's when you get that bitter taste. And sometimes that's what you aim for in a beer,
Sure.
not in this one. So from here, we go to the whirlpool that spins the beer around real quick to kind of separate some of the larger solids out, and then we put it into our fermenter. Those are over here. So these are 30 barrel fermenters. I believe 30 barrels is over, I'm gonna say it's about 850 gallons. So that's what these things will hold in here, roughly. And what we do here is we pitch the yeast. So the beer will sit in here, and we pitch the yeast, they start to activate, and they'll start eating the sugars that we got from the grains, and turning those sugars into alcohol and carbon dioxide. So we've got these, I actually have an active one right now. We got the blow-off tube that's creating that gas, and it's blowing it out here. So when we're making bubbles, that means we're making beer. That usually takes, depending on the beer, they can take from 3 days to a week, depending on how active the yeast is and the conditions that we have.
I have a question. How much beer do you think that you make in a year right now?
That's a good question. I just found that out yesterday.
What?
We made about...
We did not plan that.
No, not at all. We made about, I need to know for taxes. We made about 750 barrels of beer last year. So a barrel of beer is about, it's actually not about, it's 31 gallons. So whatever 750 times 31 is how many gallons
Which
of beer.
I don't know because I'm a
neither.
communications person. I'm not a mathematician. So.
Right, so that's how much beer we made in 2018.
So, that's really interesting. Winona has a super long beer history. We had 4 breweries before Prohibition started. Our first brewery was in, I think, something like 1855. I don't even know if we were actually a city yet, and somebody was brewing beer.
You gotta have beer before you have a city.
Right. It's not a city without beer.
No.
So the one that survived, of course, past Prohibition was the Boobs Brewing Company, which is spelled Bubs, but if you are associated with Winona in any way, you know that already. And they stopped brewing in the late 1960s for whatever reason, but they still exist kind of in the restaurant, and they have some microbrew beers that they serve there. But this is Winona's only microbrew place right now. There's a place that I just read about in Rolling Stone that is just starting up, but microbrews in Minnesota have become an enormous industry. I mean, I think that there's hundreds of microbrews in Minnesota.
Absolutely.
And it's partly because our legislature has really embraced the...
You can thank Surly, actually.
Yes, Surly.
Surly Brewing Company kind of paved the way.
Sure.
For...
I know Omar, the guy from
Oh,
Surly.
yeah?
Oh, he's great. Yeah. I mean, he's just, he's the guy who's all about beer.
He's the guy.
He's the guy. He's the beer guy.
Yeah. Very cool.
Show us what
Next.
else. Yeah.
So once the fermentation is done, we will move on to what is called the bright tank, and in between that process, we'll filter the beer.
Oh, we have
Right.
barrels
Right now we're walking by our science table. So Andrew will be very mad if I touch any of his stuff, so we're not going to do that. But this is where he does his cell counts for his yeast propagation. This is where he will formulate a lot of his recipes as well. But this is exciting because we've got barrels back here. And what we do with these are actually Pinot barrels. So we age beer in there, and one that we had a lot of success with was our sour beer, which is already kind of a nut beer. We put it into this wine barrel, and it smelled like a Pinot, and it started out tasting like a wine. Then it had that tartness of our sour beer, and then we actually put apricot, I believe, into that one. So it finished with a nice apricot flavor. It was very delicious. So we're always working on trying to infuse new flavors into our beer and just make something new and interesting for our customer to try. So, last are these bright tanks. And this is where, like I said, in between the fermenters and here we will filter the beer, so we'll kind of clean out the yeasts and the proteins and the enzymes that'll make the beer cloudy, and we make the beer clear. We actually have a nice, fun little thing to try here. We're coming out with a new beer tomorrow that's called a Mrs. Sippy, and it's a raspberry blonde.
So has anybody tried this beer before? This right now, besides you, besides the employees?
Nobody. Everybody who works here has tried it, but nobody who doesn't work here has tried it. So watch out.
That's amazing.
So right now, when we put it in these tanks, we hook up our CO2 hose.
What happens when you open that?
It'll just actually, because of this pigtails on here, it'll come out nice and slow.
Oh.
But we pump some CO2 into the beer, and there's a little aerator basically in there that just shoots it into micron-sized bubbles to carbonate the beer.
I'm so excited right now. Oh my gosh. And it's not because I just like chugged.
It's not because you had enough beer. The first one's a little foamy, but the other ones are okay.
That one's for you.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm just kidding.
All right.
Kidding, not kidding.
So here, this is a blonde, like I said, so it's a very light style of beer.
Emily,
Camera person can't drink.
Emily, she's gonna have to
Sorry if it
one
gets
hand that
shaky.
camera. If it's shaky, it's because Emily's drinking a little raspberry blonde with us right now.
So as you can see, it's got a little bit of a pink touch to it.
Yeah, it looks like a white Zinfandel.
A little bit. So when we made this beer, we put, I believe it was 168 pounds of raspberry puree into the tank, into the fermenter. So you smell this one, you get a nice smell of raspberries, fresh raspberries.
Really
and then it's not an overpowering beer style, so it's not going to be too hoppy, it's not going to be too malty. You get a nice raspberry finish.
And you
to
told
it.
me something about Watkins. Watkins is helping you guys out in your
They
beer journey,
do.
right?
So
So
people know
Watkins,
about.
hang on a second.
Yeah.
So Watkins, if you are connected at all to Winona, you know Watkins is one of our iconic industries here that has been making food flavorings, tonics and also food flavorings for 150 years. And they're still doing it, and they're helping these guys make beer.
Right. So we actually, for our vanilla Dunkel, we use Watkins vanilla extract in the beer, and we actually just did that today. That's what's in here. So we'll put the vanilla extract into this tank and then filter the beer into it. So it's very good, very good. I like it.
I know, right? I think I'm gonna leave here and go to see a friend who that's her favorite beer. I'm gonna bring her some. Yeah,
Perfect.
right. So
That's that. Cheers.
cheers! Thank you so much. I appreciate this tour, and we're just gonna finish up a little bit, and then we're gonna probably give you guys a little sneak preview of this trivia night that's just starting to fire itself up right now.
They're thinking real hard in there.
Have they started?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's all right.
Well, all right. So, listen, every week we go wherever you tell us to go. We'll go anywhere, really. I mean, especially if there's beer there. Hi. Just kidding. Just kidding. This is the first time we've had beer on one of the Visit Winona's Facebook Lives, but you are in control of what's going to happen next week. So tell us in the comments, where do you think we should go? What do you think would be an interesting look around live? I know a lot of you don't live in Winona, and you just have really great memories about something of Winona. If you want to see it, tell us. Give us a shout out, and then we're going to take the top 2 things that we have had a lot of comments about, and we are going to put them in a poll. And well, next week is Christmas, so So we'll probably pop that poll up in the morning on Monday, which is going to be Christmas Eve, and by by Wednesday late in the evening, we'll be deciding who's going to win, and you are in charge. Tell us where we're going to go. We love this and are having so much fun seeing things in Winona that we've not seen before. We're going to kind of back up into this room a little bit because now there's a whole lot of people playing trivia in here. They don't know that we're here. They don't know that we're filming them right now live. So hopefully there's no like, dummies or whatever coming up. But this is such a fun place, you guys. And these trivia nights. This one's a little bit smaller.
Visit Winona here in the
Oh, they're talking about us right now. Okay,
give
so
them a quick cheers and a shout out. That'd be great. So you guys
oh, that was nice, you guys. Thank you. Tell us where should we go next.